How are you guys doing today? This is Darius, as you know, one half of the Did I Incarnate podcast. I'm here with Thaddeus Royal Sims. Yes, yes. So today we're going to be discussing what are we discussing? Today's podcast is called How to Access Your Unique Gifts. We had a little discussion about what unique means to us, and we both feel that that word encompasses so much more than others. I was going to say intuitive gifts because this is a very spiritual podcast. We could have said personal gifts, but unique gifts kind of remind us of our intent for authenticity. It reminds of us to focus on our soul path and know that all of those on our path are complements to our path, but it isn't their path at all. Because if you see someone on your path, that's essentially something you need to witness, something you need to experience, but you need to experience it for you. And having your unique gifts allows you to fully comprehend what your experience, what it is you're experiencing. So how do you tap into those unique gifts? That's what this podcast is about. And I think it's first important to decipher what your unique gifts are. A great way to do that is to take it back to a very foundational kind of spiritual practice of the chakras. I feel like the chakras are very foundational. You know, they're kind of like amethyst and so forth. They're very beginner like. So you usually are, even if you aren't a spiritualist, you know about the chakras. You know what they mean, and you understand that the heart chakra is for love, and the solar plexus is the energy of the body. So figure out which of those chakras resonates most with you. I'm going to first discuss my chakra, then I'm going to go through my personal one that resonates with me the most. I'm going to go through all of them and try to give you like a little background as to how you can figure out which of these resonates with you the most and what you can do with that resonation, whatever. But the one I resonate with most with is my throat chakra. I feel like I'm an excellent communicator. The throat chakra is literally in the throat. I don't know what gland it corresponds to, but it's essentially it reminds me that I can communicate how I feel authentically. I always do that. I always add like another something to it.
I do the same.
Yeah, authentically. It allows me to just profess myself. It allows me to be able to communicate who I am. I feel like I'm a great professor of knowledge, a great teacher. I feel like I've come here to teach you and inform you of your great abilities to experience life as a creator, as a God, essentially. I feel like that's my passion. That's something I do innately. I feel like I can talk continuously forever and ever if I choose to do so, because my throat chakra is where I supersede that. This isn't to say that other chakras are weak of mine or so forth, but this is the one that resonates most with me. The color is light blue. So a lot of times what I do when I'm meditating, I'll literally imagine my auric field as sky blue, light blue, however I deem to see that color. I feel like with this, he's eating, by the way. Last week he was wearing a tank top. Now he's eating in a video.
But it's a good thing. This is a good topic.
Yes, because that's a part of something. We're getting to that later. I'm trying to we'll find a way to make that okay. You know, I'm not going to do too much for the guy eating in the podcast. Just saying. But yeah, mine is the throat chakra. I supersede at communication, professing my knowledge, speaking on something very precisely, very intentionally, very, very, very authentically, very me.
Very true.
Very, very me. So what can I do with my throat chakra? What can I do to utilize my gifts? I can teach. I like to teach. That's why I'm doing this. I'm informing you of your great gifts. I have a YouTube channel. Intuitive Challenge Are Us. I'm informing you that you're intuitive because I'm intuitive. And I was once someone who wanted to be intuitive, but I realized very, very recently, like about a year ago, I realized that I'm intuitive as fuck. We all are. And I can do this, and so can you. And that's what my life purpose is. To utilize that throat chakra of mine, my ability to communicate. So everything I've done that I've succeeded in required my throat space. Everything. In college, I had a biology degree, and I was doing lab research. And in the lab research, we have weekly presentations. So everyone goes around and you discuss the lab work you've been doing for the past week or so. So every week, I'm just training that throat chakra, And now I'm a server. I've been a server for 2.5 years. If you know a really good server, them niggas are talking at the tables. You know, they aren't quiet. They're discussing the features and what's on the menu. They're describing the details of the entree you'll be enjoying it as you in your stay at my section. You're participating in my communication. I'm controlling the way things are orchestrated because I'm communicating them to you. So as a server, I'm utilizing my throat chakra. Of course, this is my more 9 to 5 job because I feel like my life purpose is to teach about intuitive topics. And so I have a YouTube channel. I'm discussing spiritual things, and I'm incorporating all parts of my art field, all parts of my body through my specific gift, my unique gift of communication, my gift of the gab. I can talk all day. I can keep going if I wanted to. But now what I'm wanting to do, what I'm being guided to do is just to discuss all the chakras, because I feel like every chakra will align you with one purpose in your life that really resonates with you, and it will allow you to supersede all of that which you've been doing thus far. So the root chakra, the color red, is usually right above the genitals, like, where your hair usually grows. It's usually right in that area where your pubic hair grows. Yeah, your gooch. That's what it's called, the gooch. Yes, it's the color red. When I think of the root chakra, I think of the foundation of being present to receive. It's the foundation. So if the root chakra isn't strong, you aren't very grounded. You aren't very present. When I say grounded, you aren't very aware. Like, if in the midst of me discussing in the midst of this podcast, how many thoughts came to your mind other than what I was discussing? Are you listening to exactly what I say as I say it? Are you looking me in my eyes? Are you having continuous eye contact? Are you thinking about tomorrow in the midst of this conversation? Did you lose track of what I was saying 5 minutes ago just because you weren't paying attention? If so, you aren't grounded. And so, but once you realize that being grounded allows you to pick and choose what it is you want to experience, because I like to think of the chakras as a map of this life, of this experience. What do I want to do? How can you figure out what you want to do first? Get that root chakra in order. So the root chakra, when it's in order, you're very grounded. You have a very statuesque kind of energy about you. Your energy is very much your own, and it can't be matched by others simply because it doesn't exist in that space of their life. Just because it is your energy and only your energy. So when you stand in your root chakra, and you have a very strong root chakra, you're a natural born leader. You're very much driven, but you tend to have a sense of practicality to you that allows you to utilize all of that you receive in a very physical manner, which is great. So if your root chakra is your chakra you deem the most appropriate, something you might find beneficial are very physical exercises, spending time with nature. This isn't to say that if you aren't honing in that root chakra that you don't like nature, because I love nature, but I feel like my gift of gab supersedes all. I'm allowed to communicate my gifts about nature because of my throat chakra, So yeah, that's the root chakra. Then you have the solar plexus, not the solar, I'm lying. You have the sacral chakra. That's where your navel kind of is. It's color orange. That's usually associated with creativity and things of that nature, sexual desires, being at peace. So the root chakra allows you to be aware of what is in your space. The sacral chakra allows you to act on it, or not act on it, but at least get ideas about it. Root chakra awareness, sacral perception. You see what I'm saying? Perception. And then the solar plexus is the action. I'm jumping ahead, but yes. So the sacral creativity, what is you're perceiving that you want to achieve? It's right before you take action, you have these thoughts. And if that's really where you shine in these thoughts, that sacral chakra is strong. So for you, if your sacral chakra is strong, I'm wanting you to write down your ideas, write them down. Because a lot of times I notice this. A lot of times you either have the sacral really strong or the solar plexus really strong. Not everyone has both. Because what happens is you have these good ideas, but you're like, no, I can't do that shit. I can't do it. I don't got this, I don't got that. And what that is a very strong sacral, but a very weak solar, because the solar is going to drive you to promote that sacral. It's the action, it's the energy of the body. So the solar plexuses are the ones who are very driven. People who have really very strong solar plexuses tend to sometimes, usually more than not, have very weak sacral, simply because they want to dive into stuff without thinking of the actual action that needs to be taken in the midst of the diving in. So what are you diving in for? So that solar plexus is strong, or the sacral is not. But why is the solar plexus strong? I mean, why is the sacral strong? What aren't you receiving or perceiving utilizing your sacral chakra? The heart space, which is the next chakra up. Because if you're in tune with your heart space and you're in tune with how you feel and what you love, getting great ideas about the things you love will come like rapid fire. It won't be an issue. It'll be something that just comes naturally because you love to do it. So you see how so far everything's going hand in hand with the next one. Same thing up. Throat chakra. What do you communicate the things you love? How do you know what you love? By actually experiencing things with your root and so forth. So the throat chakra allows you to communicate the things you love. I love to communicate. So I'm going to communicate my love for communication as I communicate. And then after the throat is what? Third eye. Now that you communicate things you love, what can you receive about the things you love? Now you spoke about them physically. Now what are you going to receive about them? How can you receive? How can you perceive other than how you've perceived in the past? That's your third eye. Then the crown chakra allows you to receive instead of perceiving. You're receiving from higher sources or outside sources or sources on a different dimension or however you deem that fit for you. But it all ties in one by one. So which of those speaks to you the most? I feel like I spent much more time on the lower part for the reason that people who are spiritualists tend to know about the upper. because they love that stuff, child. They want to spend so much time doing that. They don't focus on the lower stuff, which is important. And I feel you because I went through the same thing. The same thing. I wanted to love to do this stuff, but I never focused on down there. And I realized that what is important is having this whole structural thing aligned at all times. But I feel at the same time that the chakra systems are very foundational, because I feel like I learned them just to be able to communicate to you about certain energies. But I feel like once I got a grasp of them, I then started to tap into my own specific, unique gift of energy, because the chakra system doesn't really work for me anymore. I utilize it, but it's more of like a middleman for me to communicate energy in itself. It serves as the person I'm buying the weed from, as a person, as opposed to the person who's distributing the weed, you know? So I'm wanting you to be able to get your weed while then figuring out a way to get it on your own without me. You know, that's what I'm wanting you to do. How can you utilize the chakra system as a basic foundational energetic system to understand your body better? That is your unique gift. That is what this is about. I'm wanting you to just get in tune with who you are as a person and understanding what you can provide as a person and what part of that your energy system speaks the most to you. Again, for me, I'm a great communicator. I always have been. As a child, I've always been very dexterous mentally, so I've always been a very inquisitive person. I've always had a great way of hearing a sentence and being able to like finesse it and just being able to create these crazy little sentences that I hear and perceive from others. All the shows I love to watch have perfect diction, and I love when someone uses like a very high level vocabulary word. I make note of it. I Google it. That's very much who I am as a person, and that speaks to me for the most part. Not to say that I can't utilize other chakras. That's another foundational thing to understand, that all these chakras are utilizing you, and you're being utilized by them. Because what you want to understand is that they're all versions of you in different form. When I first got into giving intuitive readings, what I would do is go into my heart space, or go into my throat space, or I would go into my root chakra to perceive different sides of intuitive information. Because what the crown tells you is very different from what the heart tells you. Not to say that either is wrong, it's just a different perspective. The heart's going to tell you that at the core of everything. So if I'm going to look into a situation utilizing my heart, what I'm going to receive is like the energy of it all. What energy was felt, what actually energy-wise, what happened. Not necessarily what's exactly happening, like step 1, step 2. No, that is not the heart. That is the root chakra. For sure, the root chakra will tell you actual events. You know, the solar plexus will tell you the purpose behind these events. The sacral will tell you that what will come. I feel like the sacral tells you what will come of these events. It might not necessarily be exactly what will come, but it'll be like, okay, this is what's most likely to happen because of that. So I feel like the lower three are very like physical in events, present, future, past, why, you know, but then you get upper, it gets to the energy of, and then you get up to here, it's like, okay, the higher vibrational, broader perspective of this all. Okay, this person punched me in the face, but what purpose does it serve my life lesson? That is what these three tell you. You connect with your source self and so forth, utilizing all of them if you want, but they're going to provide you with different angles to the story. And some want to utilize them all to provide a very 360 kind of view of the story for the intuitive reading. I, for one, like to be guided towards I like to be guided towards the one that's going to get you the most benefit the fastest. But if you're doing a reading with me and you prefer, depending on the question, that's another thing. It depends on the question you ask. Because if you're wanting to know when or how or why or what purpose it serves my life, I'm going to tap into a different one. One's going to light up. I'm going to know, okay, no, I need to know about this one, you know? But at the same time, what I'm starting to do is realize that I don't need to know about any of them, any of the chakras. Like, you need to know the answer. And that's going to bypass that whole understanding of the chakra system. And instead of me utilizing that as a foundational basis for what I want to communicate with you guys, I can use something else. I can get rid of this chakra as a foundation and use something else. And what is that something else? Just doing it, just receiving the information, just getting it, what's best for you. And this is my way of utilizing my unique gifts, because I feel like, for me, I'm impatient as hell. I don't want to go through these particular steps. I don't think I need to. I don't think I have to. And as a creator, I know I don't have to. And I know I don't need to, just because I don't want to. So what are you wanting to do? I think it's the perfect time to ask yourself, what is it you're wanting to accomplish? What is it you're wanting to achieve? You know, I feel like we discuss this all the time in the podcast. What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? How do you want to feel? Because that is truly why we're here. It's so easy for people to get stuck in this rut of 9 to 5s and living on the weekend and not really enjoying all of that that can be enjoyed. But what I'm wanting you to do is figure out how you can access your unique gifts to experience more of your experience in this lifetime. Lydia Mihawk says, hello. How are you, Lydia?
Hello, Lydia. How do you do?
We do quite well, Lydia. But yeah, you guys, what are you wanting to experience? What are you wanting to do? How can you do it? What makes the most sense to you? What's the most fun for you? Is it YouTube? Are you wanting to create? Maybe you have so let's say you have a very strong crown chakra. You're going to want to be something You're gonna want to excite others, and you want to feel someone's incitement. You want to impose like great ideas, maybe perhaps a great philosopher. If you're being physical, of course, all these things can be turned spiritual. You can be an intuitive channeler, which is a great thing for the crown chakra. Or perhaps you just want to be a philosophist or someone who has these great ideas. Perhaps a writer because you receive great thoughts all the time. You know, if the third eye is strong, perhaps you're a great painter of some sort. Perhaps you're a great sculpturist. Perhaps you can see different dimensions to this extent. You want to bring those different perspectives on that dimension to this one, you know, and so forth. Throat chakra, great speaker, communicator. Heart chakra, perhaps an RN, a nurse. I feel like my mom has a great heart chakra. She's a RN. A solar plexus, great leader, someone who wants to dive into action. A firefighter would be great for the fucking solar plexus. Great. Sacral will be what? I feel like a sacral will be someone who inspires others to do great things because they see the great in other people. And I feel the root will be someone who, I feel like the root would be like a 9 to 5. Yeah, like someone who just wants like a very, because to them, like a very 9 to 5 kind of lifestyle is ideal and they like that, you know? But which of those speak to you and realize what your unique gifts are and tap into those things. I want to pass it to Thaddeus if that's okay. I don't know if he's busy eating. Do the podcast at 5:20 p.m. He's eating. Yeah, buddy.
You know, first off, I want to say thank you, Darius, for blessing them with the foundations and also allowing me to eat.
Yes.
I knew that's what I was gonna go. You know, he was gonna bless y'all. So I was like, oh well, let me eat. I can't be dying on the podcast. So I mean, why not, right? You don't want me to die on a podcast,
I wouldn't mind that.
Right? I know, but still. You like you didn't have to do it right now. You know, like nigga, you could have waited after it. See, I was thinking of you.
Were you know?
I was. But that salad though, we'll get on that later. But to continue what Darius was saying is I think number one, again, though, that's excellent that you gave him the foundation with the chakras. Because I know a lot of people who are spiritual usually have started there or heard something about the chakras. And I'm not gonna go
Karen says hi.
What up, Karen? How's it going? Awesome. Karen's awesome. I seen her. She put a video up. She was dancing. She was awesome.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna touch on that. He covered that very well. What I will come at it with is, for me, I use that system, the chakras, and I found what works for me. And for me, my gifts, I would really go with like awareness and pursuing that awareness to a degree that I can. My favorite chakra was the third eye chakra. And, you know, I just liked it because it had visions and stuff like that and whatnot. Not to say I don't have them anymore, but I've evolved them to a degree where I don't do it that way anymore. So like he said, we took the chakras and we could throw them away. You know, we went there as our foundations and stuff. So one thing I would say is there's this inner knowing that everybody has. Some people ignore it, some people don't.
Yes.
So I'm going to talk on the point of after you got your basics of the foundations with the chakras, now it comes to that inner knowing. And I would say you need to start listening there. Go to that inner knowing, to that source or whatever it is, and listen to it more and practice and experience, you know, whatever it is it tells you and things like that for yourself. I say that because that's what worked for me. I mean, I love the gifts that I have, but all of my gifts came through with practice and experience. So, you know, it's good to be aware of them, but you also need to utilize them. Oh yeah. Good about you. By the way, he's eating. Y'all see this, right? He's eating. So yeah, it's like, by the way, I don't cook it all the way because I can keep the benefits in there. Because usually when you cook it, yeah, right. I'm gonna make you next time if you're over here. I'll try to make you some without onions. Make you a little side one. Yeah. By the way, that's a whole vegan thing. We just gonna get on the salad. I don't worry. I ain't gonna forget. But the salad that I was eating, because everybody knows I'm vegan. Darius is vegan as well. One of the things too is utilizing your gifts. For me, and I would say for Darius as well.
I'm part-time vegan. I'm not 98% vegan. Stuff happens sometimes.
Majority. So
stuff happens.
You know, yeah. I would say for me, and I would say for you a bit as well, eating right. Yeah, no, yeah, you told me. Eating right helps develop your gifts as well. You become more aware. You're able to sense stuff like that. For me, like this salad that I made, of course I was eating it on the podcast, but it's kale. There's a bunch of seeds in there that's really good for you. Mushrooms, broccoli, onions, and garbanzos or chickpeas or garbanzos, one of them. And I just threw it together and ate it. It fills me up. It's healthy. I feel good. My body loves it, and it works out. I mean, everybody develops their gifts, however, a certain type of way. There are some friends of mine who are really good and they still eat a bit of meat. But they're aware, like how it makes them feel, that's your body. Not saying you need to go vegan, but you become more aware of the stuff that you eat. But that was the whole thing on the salad. I was really hungry, and I mean, why not eat on the podcast? Why not?
Gotta eat, nigga.
And, at least y'all know I ain't just saying it. And y'all meet me somewhere and y'all see me eating like a stack of ribs or something, like y'all know.
Can you imagine?
Right?
That'd be funny.
Right? I would laugh.
I would enjoy that.
But now y'all know, like, oh, okay, he actually vegan. Yeah, like, for real. But anywho, back to what I was saying. So yeah, you develop your awareness and things like that. And you just have to, back to the inner voice, you just have to listen to that. And you have to develop, I want to say, the trust. That's the biggest thing I had to work on. I think like once you get like, your foundations right, there's going to be, I think it's a steady series of developing that trust.
Yeah, totally.
So that's one thing. You have to trust in your abilities, trust in the source of where you get it from, but it also comes with practicing and experience.
How do you think you can develop trust? So what's an actual exercise someone can do to develop trust?
So what worked for me when it came to developing my trust in it is I just tried to find anything that worked. So for example, in long, many moons ago, when I was learning about my guides, that was my source at the time. So I had to learn how to trust that. So first thing is I had to work on believing, like, I'm not making it up. And I was aware of like which parts of my brain like was operating when I was receiving stuff. But what I would do is I would ask a question related to someone, or how can I help someone? Or I would, in the middle of someone talking to me, I would ask, one of them like, hey, like, what can I say to them? And then, one of them will say this. And then I would say, well, maybe you should try this. And how would that feel for you? And lo and behold, it changed the whole game up for him. And, it felt better. I don't know. I couldn't make that up because certain things that came out of my mouth, I'm like, that does not sound nothing like me. And I would have not known about that. But I also, too, would test, like when I had like a lot of doubts, I would use my doubts to increase my trust because, a lot of people say, oh, you could be just imagining that. But then I was very anal about how I am when I imagine. And I noticed that when I imagine, my flow of energy feels like inwards, like I'm retrieving, versus when I'm receiving stuff, it's just a stream that just flows into me. And I notice a difference. I'm like, when I try to imagine, it's like I have to stop and do stuff. And I would test that. So in doing all those little things of testing myself and practicing, that developed my trust.
But that isn't to say that daydreaming is the wrong way to do it. It just wasn't his method, because that's what I do to receive. I literally just imagine a situation and I just let it play out. And I know I'm right. So, but that's just my way. He was the takeaway from this is he knew what was working for him. He's tested this, tested that, and he figured out, okay, this isn't working. This is. That's the takeaway. Testing it out and see what works for you.
Precisely.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Matter of fact, talking about that too, what I think will greatly help you like skyrocket with your gifts is you have to understand that takeaway is what works for you may not work for the other person. Yeah. And someone who you look up to, they may say differently and it may not work that way for you. And that does not mean that you're wrong. Exactly like how he said. So immediately try not to compare the way you get stuff from someone else. And just so you actually get it is some people are visual. He daydreams. I get stuff. I'm visual too. Some people feel things. Some people hear things. Because they hear it and you don't does not mean that, something's wrong or you're not advanced enough or you're not there yet. You have it. And also too, sometimes what everybody around you may be seeing you might be that select few that none of this may work, but that's where you have to go back to that source of yours and figure out what works for you.
So let's say someone is wanting to utilize their unique gifts, but they have no idea where to start. Because I had no idea what to do. So I would ask others, and I'm like, okay, I will try that and it wouldn't work. What's something they can do like right now to actually jumpstart something?
I'd say immediately get in touch with that source. I say that because I feel like that source, that inner voice, knows all the answers.
What is that source? How does one do that though? Is you lift your hand up? What do you do? You meditate?
Okay.
Breathing?
For me, I meditate and I get away from distractions. I get rid of all of this stuff. Get away from people. Keep my phone away from me. I get in that space of solitude so that way I can hear that inner voice louder. I usually verify it because it feels right.
Yeah.
It always just, you don't question it.
What will happen? Oh, no, I think you do. I think in the early stage you actually do question it. I think what you know, you're like, no. And so that's what that inner voice is for, to calm you down, to relax you so you can have more time to think yes. Because the no is just the ego's perceptive of something that you think or you're perceiving to be wrong, it's actually correct.
Mm-hmm.
So if you literally just, so what I feel is best, it's literally like what he means by solitude and to like remove himself is go by yourself and breathe. Just breathe. It gets to allow your thoughts to not be so jumbled.
Right.
I don't expect a clear mind now, but they should, like right now, I'm thinking nothing. Try that. That's like, let that be your goal, to think nothing, but make it a long-term goal, because it took me a while to get here. I was very much like this in my mind all the time, but for now, just breathe. Try to slow down your thoughts and ask yourself a question, whatever question you want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to do this? And you just feel the right answer. Worst case scenario, however you feel it, it'll come to you whenever way you need to feel, but you'll feel the right answer.
Yeah. You definitely hit on a big point, is the breathing part.
Yes.
When I used to,
oh my God.
I'm trying to see, when I used to teach people to meditate, I used to tell them, don't try to get here. I was like, first, just focus on your breath. Get used to concentrating and focusing, like just on the breath. And they would do that and they would notice they feel relaxed. Mm-hmm. And then over time, it's perfect, like you said, make that a long-term goal, because that takes time.
But once you get there, it's like, oh, duh. It's so weird to not be in that space of clarity, because it's just like, oh, I could have did this a while ago. But don't think of it as you can do it now, because it might not be able to do it now, but that's okay.
Right.
It takes time.
Right.
Takes time. Something else that was coming up. Oh, I forgot. Fuck. Damn.
It'll come.
Yeah, you were saying what just now?
Inner voice. That's the first thing to go back to.
First thing to go back to. I don't know. I feel like it's there, but it's not. Whatever. Go for it.
But yeah, so that's the first. I think you're saying like the very first step. Like if they have no idea what they were doing.
True.
So that's when I said go to that voice, and then you were talking about that.
Ask the question, fill out the answer. You'll know.
Right.
It'll just be something like, it might be very obvious sometimes too, but that obviousness, think of that as a way that like a friend of mine, Jason, and I, we give intuitive readings to each other all the time. We just ask each other questions and so forth, and a lot of times we get the answers casually all the time. And sometimes we're like, are we really right? Is really that easy? But the truth is, it is. So if the answer you ask your inner voice is obvious, all that means is you've received it before. It just felt like it was too easy for it to be intuitive. Intuitive work doesn't need to be like very miraculous. Like you need to like fly in order to do any kind of intuitive work. It could just literally be, it could literally just be something chill, something you receive very easily. We're going to start doing the podcast earlier because it's getting darker earlier here. So usually we do it at 5, and it wouldn't get dark till like 6:30. So it's like perfect. Now it's getting dark at 5:30, as you're noticing.
Yeah, so we're gonna work on.
Yeah, definitely getting it up early, because like the quality reduces drastically when the lights go out, even with the light on up there. Karen Joe, having a clear mind for me is so hard. When I do, see, it's cutting off here. That's so weird. When I don't focus on my breath and clear out, there's always this song playing. Oh, okay. So what I do for that is as I take a deep breath and I kind of push it out, like, and that kind of like literally gets rid of all that gunk. And it gets it out. And it does all the time. Because I feel you. Sometimes you can feel so anxious, like you can't like kind of do anything like right. It's like you're like judging yourself in the midst of judging yourself in the midst of judgment. And everything's clouding your vision. What I do is breathe all that stuff out. So great question, Karen. Anyone else has any other questions? Because I feel like, because before we started, what we said was that we're gonna, if it gets too dark, we're gonna cut it short, because just the quality is
Yeah.
Despicable.
So we got to work on
getting it up earlier.
What time?
I think it's like 4:30. We'll be not 4:30, but 4. Because I feel like it's an hour change in time, so we have to move it up an hour. So 4 would be better.
Okay.
So from now on, the podcast will be at 4 p.m. EST.
All right. So we'll do that.
Yeah, it's gonna work better because this is the light situation. Like I feel like I look like a different person now. Like who is that? I don't know him.
I know him. He's cool.
Sure. Yeah. But yeah, Carrie Joe, thanks for the question. Let's see. What else can I do? I'm gonna do this.
But that's what I would say is like as far as developing your stuff, practice, experience, and things like that. Inner voice, clearing the mind. And then it's pretty good right there. Yes. That's a good step, like starting.
And something else that comes to me, it's funny because it's Jason's higher source, like source self. I'm like, whatever. But that's who's like coming to me now. But what I'm getting is that everyone is like, I'm seeing the globe, but I'm seeing like sparks fly. People are getting it. They're grasping it. And the more that people tap into their unique gifts, the more people are presented to those who have the unique gifts together. It's like you're going to come together, essentially. It's like you're going to attract others who have these same gifts. And you're going to create this group of this circle of friends, different group of circles, what I said, whatever. This great group of friends who can then help you to unleash your gifts even further. Okay, so don't feel as if these gifts are hidden or they're something to be ashamed of or to hide. They're not. They're to be spoken of and to be accepted by you and by your peers, because you're going to come in contact with your wolf packet if you think of it. Karen Joe says, my friend Jackie that you guys met was recently hospitalized and diagnosed with a neurological condition.
What?
Ooh, that's not good. We met Karen Joe at Whole Foods when she was in town, and she's saying that her friend was diagnosed with a neurological condition. Please send her a healing vibe for me, please. Yes, will do.
What hospital? Text us. Or text me. Yeah. She has to be close. She stays close by.
Mm-hmm. She stays in Lake Worth. I don't know if they have a hospital in Lake Worth.
She's still close.
It's very cool. Yeah, I agree. Lydia says connect with your soul group. Yes, good vibes going her way. Mm-hmm. Connect with your soul group, exactly. Because by coming more at peace with your soul, on a soul level, you're going to come in contact with those who complement your soul. And they are going to complement your soul by reducing their own soul. They're going to complement their soul because they exist as naturally. So they themselves will be complementing their soul while complementing your own. So it's literally the perfect group for abundance to breathe. And that's what's essentially happening. We're shedding parts of ourselves to step further into who we truly exist as. Perhaps you aren't spiritual. Perhaps you're watching this and you're just in a relationship with someone who doesn't speak to you, who once spoke to you but isn't speaking to you anymore. Let go of that voice. If they aren't speaking to you currently, let go of the voice. Talk to them in the way they can speak to you. Mm-hmm. Perhaps that's through friendship. Perhaps that's through just a casual acquaintance. You don't necessarily need to date this person, but just let go of them and get into you and give into you, more importantly, because you know you don't want that person. You know the connection you have with the person you have a connection with is a connection that needs to be made, but you aren't wanting to make it. Why? That is your lesson, buddy. That's your lesson, buddy. That's your lesson. Well, yeah, you guys. I'm glad that Karen Joe inquired about. Well, she didn't inquire. She kind of said, please, if we could send healing energy away. Because one of my unique gifts is giving. One of our unique gifts is giving distance attunements and altering people's energetic fields without being in their physical presence. That's something I love to do. So after I finish this video, I'm actually going to send her some energy from a distance, because to me it's fun and it's something I love to do, and it's a great way for me to get the thing done very quickly because I don't have to visit her in the physical. I connect with her in the spiritual. So I'm glad you mentioned that, and I think that's another great way for you guys to venture out and experience other forms of intuitive work, energetic work. It doesn't need to be very physical at all. We know someone who connects to people's higher selves and allows the higher self to do actual work, but they connect to the higher selves. That isn't physical at all. There's no actual physical benefit of measurement that you can physically see, but this person is helping on an energetic level and a high vibrational level, and that speaks to them, and that's okay. Hi, Goddess Mimi Love says, hi, how to master new gifts awakening. How to master them, just go deeper into them.
Pretty much.
Literally. So let's say your gifts are visual. Play the visual longer. What happens when you watch the visual? Don't necessarily play the visual, just watch it. Sit back and enjoy the show. You know, it depends on the gift. If you're listening, listen harder. Try to listen for new words. Are you really hearing those basic words, or are you hearing something more profound? You know, just dive into whatever it is your gift is deeper.
dive into it, and then also like allow it to like kind of just come through to you, like a stream. Like imagine opening your, like you're a waterfall and you kind of blocked a bit. Imagine removing the rocks and just let it just pour into you. That always works.
And you might be able to do more of utilize your gift with your higher self. Utilize your gift to connect to your higher self, and that your higher self will come to you in a way that is beneficial for that gift. You can also ask for attunements from your spiritual team, spirit guides, angels, your ancestors. They want to help you out. I ask for attunements all the time. You will literally notice an energetic shift in your body as you receive that attunement. How do you receive an attunement? You ask for it and it's there. Literally. You can meditate while doing it, but if you meditate and focus on it being there, done. Do it now. Why not? You know? But yeah, the light's really getting really dim, you guys. I think we're going to go. Thank you guys for liking this video. Thank you for subscribing. I thank you for leaving the comments. We love you guys. We're going to be doing these videos every Tuesday at 4 p.m. EST. I recently started doing videos for the Peace Dealer. I do tarot cards. I pull 2 tarot cards per zodiac sign. I discuss what is your darkness for the week. So
which was very good.
Yeah, it was a good video. I'm glad you enjoyed. It got a lot of views, like 2,500. Got like 150 comments. A lot of love. Truly a lot of love. And after I finish this video, I'm actually going to go home and record the next one that's going to premiere either tonight or tomorrow. So the second week of What's Your Darkness with Darius on the Peace Dealer is coming soon, very soon, truly very soon. So yeah, I look forward to just communing with you guys, having conversations. I recently got a Snapchat. Yes, I feel very proud of this. I recently got a Snapchat. Add me. DRD PhD 123. DRD PhD 123. Add me on Snapchat. I love you. Toodles. I mean, say, buddy.
Y'all have a fantastic day and be blessed.
Be blessed.
Bless you. Reminds me of Jay Versace. Bless you.
Right? Like that. Yes, bless you. Bless you. All right, you guys. Bye.
Later.